so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens. Network, thank you so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens.
We are back, guys. EBN Cast is here. First show since November 15th.
Yeah, nice
It's
vacation.
been a minute.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. You know, we had Thanksgiving, then I had tons of work stuff. Some of us were sick, then Christmas, then New Year's, then more work crap. It's just one thing after another. But we are all back. Glad to be here. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Thanks for being here. Be sure to smash that like button. Guys, how are y'all doing? Have a good Christmas, good New Year's.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
Yeah.
There are.
Look at John. He's the most enthusiastic of us all. I mean, he's over the top right now. Calm down, bro.
I'm fighting a cold, so
yeah. Calm down.
Yeah. Real quick, guys. There are a couple different ways that you guys can support us here. one, EBN memberships, which last night we had tons of new members join up to the EBN memberships. Our Patreon, where we post tons of stuff that we cannot post here on YouTube. Merch store is not one. We don't have one, but I am going to talk to Culture at some point in time because Culture has great merch store, great merch stuff.
We're working
and super chats.
Yeah, super duper chats. That's cash money.
Yep, cash money, guys, cash money. But thank you guys for being here. We're gonna go ahead and kick today's show off with the topic I wanted to kind of hit on, which is the upcoming Captain America Brave New World, which everybody's excited about. I know all you guys are excited for this show or this movie.
On my face.
I can't wait to see Sam Wilson lock lips with another dude and have that intimate, loving moment. You know, you've lost that love and feeling.
It's coming. It's coming.
Red Hulk, which is Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson dies. End of story. Movie is over.
Hey, I might pay to go see that if that's what it was. But the hype train is gearing up for this thing. It's getting some new popcorn buckets, a Red Hulk one, and then another one with the Captain America shield and Sam Wilson Falcon wings behind it. I'm not going to be getting any of these popcorn buckets, and I'm probably I don't know if I'm going to go see it.
Is it sad that like I feel like the popcorn buckets of like a lot of these recent releases are more interesting than the actual movie?
That
did
was
you
one
see
of
the Alien one. The one from Alien. I think Nick, you got the Alien one.
Yeah. I got the one with the face hugger on the bucket, and then the alien head that Mama Bear sent me. So yeah, the popcorn buckets is a huge thing. Actually, when my nieces and nephews were here, I got them Sonic popcorn buckets and cups.
What do the Sonic ones look like? Do you eat out of his head?
So it's Sonic sitting down holding a popcorn bucket, and so it's actual Sonic, and then the cups have little Sonic and Knuckle figures that attach to the top of the cups next to where the straw goes in. So I got them that, and I did take them to go see Sonic 3, which was a really good movie. I really enjoyed Sonic 3. But yeah, the popcorn buckets are this new trend that and Loki was telling me about this when Alien Romulus came out. There was one guy that went to his local theater and bought all of them.
That happens. That apparently happens a lot. So what the scalpers will do is second they know they're getting that delivery, they go to the theater. They said, how much of this stuff do you have? They buy it all. They pay for it all in cash right there. Turn around and sell it for 4 or 5 times what it's worth.
Yep.
They do the same thing in the vinyl game. If you're into vinyl, I just got this. I haven't even opened it yet. It's still in the plastic. Mask of the Phantasm, right? But it's on a smoke blue vinyl. Now, the black one, they'll have a whole bunch of those, but they only have 2,000 of these. These would be going for $100 on eBay. I think I spent like $25 for it. But if you can catch the limited edition stuff that you like, if you really want to resell it, which I don't, as you can see, I got so much BS behind me. I don't ever resell anything. You keep from having to pay 4 to 5 times of what it's worth on eBay. So if you want it, start checking your theaters and just be like, hey, do you have any stuff for the new Falcon movie yet? And if you really want it that bad, just go up there and keep going up there and checking, and you'll get it.
Yeah, this one from AMC would maybe be the only one I'd be interested in because it doesn't really have anything to do with Falcon. It's just Captain America's shield. The other ones I'm not really interested in. So yeah, the popcorn bucket, it's a new trending thing for movies, and a lot of people are into that stuff. But the big thing I wanted to talk about is the box office opening weekend and the predictions of where it's sitting right now based on pre-sale numbers. So right now it's looking at having a $86 to $95 million opening weekend. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that it is not even going to hit 80. I think 80 would maybe be like the top, but I don't see it crossing 80 million personally. And right now they got the movie cost at estimated 350 to 375. I think that's way higher than that. I don't think those are accurate numbers at all. Everybody knows about all the reshoots that this thing has gone through, and it's been pushed back multiple times.
Not just reshoots. The Tim Blake Nelson, the guy who plays the leader, he says that he shot the entire movie twice, fully. They did 2 complete shoots. That these weren't just typical reshoots.
Yeah, I am not surprised at all, because we also heard the rumors about the test screenings, where that didn't really go well either. For test screenings, and so they were going back into more reshoots, but this thing has been a disaster from the very beginning. Like I said, I don't see it hitting 86 to 95. Like I said, I think it's going to be closer to around maybe 80 at the top end, probably more around 70 to 75. But I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on this, the popcorn bucket thing, the hype around popcorn buckets in theaters in this opening box office weekend. Culture, thoughts on all this?
Sure. Well, whoever characterized this the way that they did is an idiot. Projecting an impressive $90 million opening, that is not impressive by anybody's standards. You probably have already pointed out, and I missed the fact that
wait. That is impressive. That's an impressive Marvel standard now, because that's almost double the Marvels, because the Marvels did what, 45, right? So
yeah,
okay, but look at Ant-Man Quantumania. All right, I mean, when I start to look at these numbers and they're coming in lower than films that are a decade ago on their opening projections, it's not impressive anymore.
No,
so John, your point well taken and wonderful use of sarcasm, but I will say, no bueno. The first Avenger came in at 65.1. The Winter Soldier was 95, right?
Yep.
So impressive, my patoot. 2014, that's a decade and a year, 11 years ago.
And that's considered one of the best Marvel films ever made, like Marvel Cinematic Universe films.
It is.
Winter Soldier is top 5
truly,
on pretty much everyone's list there.
Yeah, Winter Soldier is my favorite out of all of them.
Yeah,
it's my number one.
I think the first 2 Captain America films are almost up to the par as the 2 Iron Man films, right? So I feel like, this is character establishment. This is development of your rogues gallery and further character development to give you context, from whence they came and from what they became. And so when I'm served up all of this, I know for a fact that, as you already mentioned, this thing will not be profitable. It has zero chance. There's no hype for this. There's no interest in it. It needs to make well more than 850, my friend.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, I think the number's way higher than that. Sundowners, way higher.
If you look at everything that has been done from beginning to end for this, including the fact that this will be the most expensive, I'm not sure if you guys mentioned this, the most expensive per minute Marvel film they've made to date. You're not even, they reshot the entire film like that. The first set of reshoots was reshooting the film with a new script that they didn't have all of it yet. They were shooting when they didn't have the script. All of this is true because you just go back into what Anthony Mackie said while they were reshooting the film again the first time. And it went back for, I can't even count how many. I think 4 reshoots total, if you count the fact that they basically shot the movie again. They were doing
reshoots in December. There's photos of Anthony Mackie on set in December in LA reshooting because they had another bad test screening. And then after that, there were reports that they did the testing again and the reports were still bad. So they were going to they weren't sure if they were going to do reshoots again or if there was going to be some editing stuff, like cutting room editing to try and improve it.
Yeah, no, they did actually. There's more confirmed confirmation that they were still shot a couple of things in January.
There you go.
I know. The beginning of the month, the beginning of the year. So
this is like amateur hour.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Culture.
No, all I was going to say is that, you know, if you're the Atlanta studio where they were trying to get the rest of this done, and the LA studio where they were trying to do the reshoots at the last minute, this has to be the most expensive Marvel shoot ever, and that's saying a lot. Because how much was the Endgame was incredibly expensive.
Yeah, Caroline Reed had some like massive report that it was like, I mean, I felt like it was almost close to $1 billion or something like that. They were saying maybe not that much, but it was an insane number.
A lot.
This one is over 400 million at this point, and that's just take that into account. I mean, when you spend that much money, you're going to dump another minimum $80 million into promotion, which we already know they've done more than that. And this, what's the film that's getting the Super Bowl commercial?
Is it Fantastic Four?
I think it's Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So they just maybe they're cutting their losses at this point, but this thing it'll never make money, and it changed villains halfway through. And
Seth Rollins just came out and was like telling his fans, "Don't watch the movie expecting me to be in it. I'm not in it."
Yeah, basically saying, if you're coming to see me, I'm not in it. I wouldn't see it. He kind of said something like that, right? He wasn't going to see it.
Yeah. Well, he praised the film, saying like Marvel does good stuff, etc. They did a good job. But if you're coming to see the film thinking I'm in it, don't waste your time because I'm not in the movie. So remember there was that like lawsuit where these people like saw it in the trailer. There was like, I forget which actress it was.
Across the universe. Yeah,
and they sued the film or whatever because they thought she was going to be in the movie.
Yeah, she was in the trailer. Yeah. And look, I mean, Disney has a real problem, and it's spending money. So they got to stop. Anyway, I probably carried on for too long, but this one's toast.
Yep, I agree. Loki, thoughts?
Oh, absolute amateur hour. This is the kind of stuff you hear about like back in the day when SNL started making movies and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, we only had 30 pages to start filming with, but you know, we eventually got there." Not a multi-billion-dollar studio that has made so many billion-dollar hits. This is all amateur hour. Whoever they've got doing this, I don't know what changed. I don't. I mean, you can say, oh, they got woke, Loki, or they got this, or they got that. Something vital left and has never returned, and it's just gotten worse. Give it up. Do whatever you think you need to do, but $500 million down the toilet because you had to go back and refilm everything. No,
yeah, they didn't have a good plan going into this thing at all. Obviously,
no. I think what they deserve. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's not just not having a good plan. This movie should have been scrapped from the get-go, right? I mean, they saw the reaction that they were getting from their Falcon and the Winter Soldier television show. They clearly saw that was obviously waning. People didn't like that, etc. They should have never greenlit this project to begin with. It should have been cut your losses, and then try to do something else, or figure out something else. Figure out what your audience is actually wanting. And we obviously tell them this all the time, right? We want our traditional mainline Marvel heroes. We want Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers is Captain America. That's what we want in a Captain America movie. We want Tony Stark as Iron Man. So it should have been scrapped from the get-go. I think we did see some heads roll on this. We saw it, I don't know, a couple months ago, or I feel like maybe it was December. I forgot. I can't remember the guy's name. He was kind of like the brains behind this film. He was doing he was like the executive producer behind the television show. I'm just blanking on his name. He was Kevin Feige cites him as the reason why they pushed Eternals up to the top of their production list and why they did all of those and it was because it was a DEI movie with all the race swaps, gender swaps, sexuality changes, and all that stuff. So at the end of the day, the executives made an absolutely terrible decision.
You're talking about Nate Moore. Nate Moore?
Yes, Nate Moore. That's his name. Thank you. Correct. Yeah. So that's that's what it really comes down to, is the fact that I think what Loki was saying a little bit earlier is that they were trying to push this agenda. This movie is a product of that, and we see how quickly that that narrative has completely collapsed and fallen apart because it was just completely fake to begin with. Anyways, no one actually bought into any of that stuff. It was a totally astroturfed movement that no one really actually believed in. It's all like media manipulation combined with government propaganda.
Yep. Steve Rogers is Captain America, and Miles Morales is not Spider-Man.
Accurate. No loss detected.
You know, so yep. I think this thing is definitely going to lose money. I remember when Falcon Winter Soldier came out. You know, and Marvel was kind of it hadn't started the full collapse yet, and I started watching the show, and I was like, I actually like this. I like that Sam Wilson turned down the mantle of Captain America. He said, you know, and he owned who he was, and I respected him for that. And then the other guy that was the blonde hair, blue eyed guy that was Captain America, I was saying the same crap about him, you know. So all these people out there like,
US agent.
Yeah,
you got bait and switched, and then you found out that Agent 13 is actually like some scumbag piece of garbage.
Yeah,
like traitor. It's like they did it all so dirty.
Yeah, and and then you have the people out there claiming you know, racism and all this crap because you don't want a black guy to be Captain America. No, I liked Sam Wilson as Falcon. I liked that character. He should have stayed that character. He is not Captain America. So I don't know. I don't think the general audience is going to probably jump in on this thing. Yeah, I think it's going to be a flop. Definitely lose money for sure. But that's going to round us out for the first topic. We're going to move on to culture. Are you ready?
Yeah, let me share it real quick. I just want to say that we have a cadre of incredible writers in our sphere. Obviously, John is one of them.
Yeah,
but we've got other organizations that we share the love with and our coverage on videos. And in this one, I'm going to feature.
And you've been doing some article writing yourself, haven't you, Culture?
Yeah, but not for these folks over at the Bleeding Fool, who I really enjoy, Chris Brawley an awful lot. And this is an article he actually wrote. And this is really about the death of the comic book industry. Now, we've been talking about it for a long, long time, and it's been slow and lingering. But taking out Diamond, which is, I have to tell you, this probably won't recover, is going to be an irrecoverable position, you know, for a lot of stores and basically the future. But Diamond's bankruptcy and the comic book industry's uncertain future, this is probably very well titled because Diamond has had to recently file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And obviously that basically changed the direct market, for lack of a better way to put it. So the company's financial troubles are significant, with creditors owed an estimated high eight-figure sum, potentially reaching over $60 million. That's for all publishers and vendors involved. The dire situation totals approximately $31 million and more owed to their top 30. This is just the top 30 non-secured creditors, with Penguin Random House topping the list at $9.2 million. PRH is owned by somebody else now, isn't it, John? That German company, right? Starts with a B.
I'm not sure. I haven't looked into that.
Yeah. Anyway, so PRH.
You're talking about Penguin Random House. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize that's what I had to my brain had to figure out what that acronym was. I'm like, PRH,
sorry.
What is that?
Yeah, they're owned like Bertelsmann, right? Bertelsmann bought them. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd have to look into that. I don't know who they're owned by. I just know they distribute Marvel for the most part, and that was back in COVID when Diamond decided to kill themselves.
Yeah, they really did a very bad thing at that period of time, and they really did comic book stores, operators, a very bad thing too. But the bankruptcy definitely poses a significant threat to the most of the small and medium book publishers. So that's a problem. And retailers typically found in the back half of the monthly previews catalog. Diamond has long been one of the few viable nationwide distribution options for smaller press comics, and its potential demise could severely limit access to a wide range of products, including toys, statues, and novelty items. And again, not everybody can be, the bigger of the toy makers. I mean, a lot of people buy, their statuettes and stuff from the big makers, but there are smaller makers of similar items, especially for smaller specialty books, and graphic novels that they get a lot of business through Diamond.
They have their own toy line, Diamond Select Toys.
Yeah. So when you look at this, so for creators and smaller publishers, the situation looks grim. The absence of Diamond could mean fewer opportunities for unproven talent and niche publications to reach market. We obviously know some of those people that make independent books and things and limited run stuff. Some industry insiders are pointing fingers at DC Comics for their role in precipitating this crisis. Excuse me, poor reading. While others are exploring.
They went to Lunar during COVID too, when Diamond decided they weren't going to. Yeah, we're just going to stop distributing comics because of California and New York.
Yeah, and I mean, this is going to affect like a lot of free comic book days and all these other things. So, the owners, obviously, many of them list Diamond's failures. Gary is chief among them. If you've ever listened to him go on a comic book rant about Diamond, but they have to give them credit for regularly supporting comic shops and stuff like that. And there's some ladies for Free Comic Book Day. They don't feel like those are cosplayers that are maybe perfect for those characters, but good try. Anyway, as a struggling industry grapples with these new challenges, there's a palpable sense of uncertainty about the future. And Chapter 11 bankruptcy means that they intend to reorganize and fall back into operation. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to effectively be able to do that. And of course, what's wonderful about
it also doesn't mean that they're going to like continue as what they were, right? Like they could significantly cut back on what they're doing. They could be changing their entire kind of business model as well, right?
Yeah, and their operations model would change entirely under that new structure, which is again why a lot of companies do this, especially when there's no chance of one part of the business surviving. They reorganize to leave that off to the side, which again, I think they're going to have to. But this does a great job of leaving you with a little crumb of happy at the end of the story, at least a positive note, which is that go ahead.
Can I ask you a question real quick? Yeah. So you could also file for this to hopefully like have people come in and buy you out too, right? Like
a lot of times
one of the reasons.
Yeah, a lot of times it does give them an opportunity to be purchased or elements of their business be purchased. This does happen regularly. Yeah, especially in Chapter 11. But regardless, Chris tries to leave us with a positive little cherry on top in his story here about the fact that Marvel emerged from a $610 million debt when it filed for Chapter 11. Of course, we all know what happened with that and who acquired it and why and what happened with that going forward. But that's a little more rosy than I'm willing to accept. But I do appreciate that Chris tries to do this at the end of his story. And I will tell him so when I next week.
A little bit different being able to leverage your comic book company into a film studio when you actually have characters and stories that you can adapt.
Yeah, well, and you also have somebody like Ike Perlmutter and some other people involved. And, if you look back, I mean, it's not uncommon for IP holders to change ownership multiple times. We've seen that happen. Recently, there was a story out there about Popeye, which is now in the public domain, changing owners like 12 times in its history. So it's not like it's not like IPs don't get passed around, and whole companies do as well. But I just thought this
was DC Comics, right? They're obviously owned by Warner Brothers now, and then Warner Brothers Discovery and AT&T, and all that's you just look at them, right?
They were passed around, and their IPs were licensed out. It's like Marvel and DC desperately wanted to survive, so they licensed out their IPs to like strange endeavors, but theme parks, all kinds of things. And it's strange how screwed up the rights end up when you do that. That's why we're still got Universal with Marvel stuff in it. But regardless, I just thought this was an interesting story about the death of the continuing slow demise of the comic book industry. I'm going to say this out loud, and probably John, you'll understand. I don't think they're going to emerge well from bankruptcy. I think they will be mostly gone, if not entirely gone, or parts owned by others. I don't know that there's anywhere else for them to go. They do have one of the dumbest ownership groups ever on the planet. So yeah, very bad. Anyway, there's that story. So.
Yeah, I miss the good old days of comic book collecting, like going to the comic shop, seeing all the new issues coming out, waiting for the new issues of the stuff you're currently reading. Like nowadays, I'm buying old stuff that I never read, such as this.
Yep.
Batman vs. Predator 2, which the first one was the first comic book I'd ever bought, and I've not read this one, and I'm 2 issues in. It's just a 4-part miniseries, but that's pretty much what I'm doing with comics now. Is I'm buying old stuff secondhand, and going back and reading stuff that I missed out on a long time ago.
If you talk to any comic book shop owner, that's pretty much what people are doing now. They're buying the old stuff. They're not buying any of this new stuff. The new stuff kind of just sits on shelves and then gets resold at like pennies on the dollar.
Yeah,
there's a few good ones. The Conan series from Titan, absolutely.
I did hear good stuff about that
really
one.
Good. There's a couple out there that
the Transformers
really
I heard was good too. The Energon stuff
is good, and the Voided or Void, whatever it is,
Void
Rivals.
Yeah, the Void Rivals.
That was good. My kid went nuts over that.
Yeah. Darth Maul's lower half says, I wonder what Kelly Sue DeConnick is saying now. Which, if you guys don't know who she is a comic book writer.
Don't buy my book.
Yeah. She's written for Captain Marvel, and she's a left-wing weirdo.
Portland, right? She's up in Portland.
Yeah.
I think she's one of the Portland people.
And she's right. The problem's solved. There's not a lot of a comic book industry there anymore.
No one's buying comics anymore.
No. Well done, Kelly Sue.
Yep. You guys accomplished your mission of destroying a great industry. And it seems like the creativity for people today in the comic book industry is like non-existent, other than, a couple, nice sprinkles in there, like Loki was talking about. It just seems like back in the 80s and 90s, they were just coming up with all kinds of awesome storylines. I reread and went back through the whole entire Maximum Carnage series, Spider-Man series, and read all those. I'll dig stuff out of my boxes and reread stuff from time to time. But the Batman vs. Predator 2 I'd never read before, and there's a couple other. I like those versus one. I think there's a Terminator versus RoboCop one out there that I've never read. So I'll probably go get that at some point in time. The Dark Empire, a lot of the Star Wars comics back then were really good, and I read a bunch of those. But yeah,
there's some criticism that I think we can level at them, especially since the Disney did indeed. Some of the things that were in those comics.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely pulled from that. A little bit.
Not well.
No, not well at all.
I don't like the Clone Emperor thing. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I don't either. But I did enjoy I did enjoy the read through of it. Punisher Warzone was another one that I loved.
That's Chuck too, I think. That's Chuck and Mike Barron.
Yeah.
Good stories in there.
But yeah, it's not the same anymore.
But a lot of what they do now, especially with Marvel and DC, is they literally go back and like ape those stories from like the 70s and 80s and 90s, and then just try and retell them with like modern sensibilities, and it's cringe and unimmersive and terrible. I mean, it's just awful. I mean, look, I mean, you can see they even title it the same way, right? Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Like, well, which version of Secret Wars? Oh, 2015. Okay. Well, they did Secret Wars in the 80s, right? 70s, 80s. So like that's what they kind of do now. They just kind of try and put a new coat of paint over top of what they had already done.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, latex paint over lead-based paint, right?
There you go.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be doing some painting this weekend. My back patio. I got a buddy coming over who's gonna help me repaint all the under stuff for my back patio.
Hey, am I looking out for you in Florida?
Yes, I was actually gonna talk about that at the end of the show.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. I'm gonna be talking about that. Which, if you guys don't know what he's talking about, MegaCon in Orlando, February 6th, 7th, and 8th, I believe, or 7th, 8th, and 9th. I think are the dates. It's the beginning of February.
Yeah, it's right as the Super Bowl shows up on the 9th.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. MegaCon.
Yep. So I will be there. I think Sundowners in the chat is going to be there. Culture is going to be there. Gary will be there. The whole G&G team will be there. So yeah, it'll be fun. Loki, I don't think you're going to this one, are you?
Nope.
No. John, I'm guessing you won't be there either.
No, probably not. I'm trying to save up my travel stuff to cover some dirt late model stuff to maybe travel around here, maybe go over to Tennessee or something. Because it doesn't look like there's a lot of races here in North Carolina, but maybe get down to Georgia or something like that. Go down to Sonoya.
Yeah.
So,
Are you looking for a soul to steal or what?
no, man. They're late models, man.
John Graber will be there.
Georgia's God's country.
Andy Masterson will be there. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get up with, and I got Culture something that I've had in my bag for well over 2 years. So
man.
yeah, but yeah, we'll talk about that some more for sure. All right, moving on. Next topic, Loki. You ready? You ready to roll?
Oh yeah, you want to talk about businesses making absolutely horrible decisions? Let me
yeah, and I looked into a little bit what you were gonna be.
Wait.
No,
wait.
I got your name.
Wait. There are other businesses making bad decisions, Loki?
Yeah. Believe it or not.
Yeah. Okay, so this is from our brand over at Bounty and Comics, Spencer Bukuli. Squaresoft has decided that if you say anything they disagree with, if you talk any crap about them that for whatever reason they deem acceptable, they can take your stuff away. They can remove your access to your games that you paid money for. They can remove you from boards. This is the ultimate crapshoot, crap play that you can get in video games. Is if you do something that we do not agree with, we will remove your shit. And
yeah,
there's no reason for any of this. I understand what's going on in Japan. I understand they're having an employee thing where their employees are getting harassed. I get that. But it's a product at the end of the day. You don't have to answer emails from madmans that continue to bug you, do whatever.
Yeah.
You block them. You block them and you move on. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy that they're like, okay, we can track down what you do, and if you do something we don't like, we'll take your shit away. I love Square Enix. I like Square Enix. I loved Squaresoft.
Yeah.
I had an absolute love for Squaresoft, and I have tried to have faith in this company that they know what they're doing, and continually they show me that they don't, because they make stupid decisions like this where they just announce, hey, we'll just take the stuff that you bought and paid for that you spent your money on and just take it away if you do something we don't like. That's what this article comes down to. I know a lot of people covered it. I'm sure John, you covered it, and everybody's
I don't
seen
know if I
this.
don't think we covered this one. I don't think I covered this one at all. But I saw it. I just didn't get to it.
Yeah, the crap that these companies are doing out there, like, I mean, who's going to be sitting there saying, all right, this classifies is over the top harassment? Like where's that bar set? Is, if you go on there and say, call one of the developers or something that says or does something stupid, and you call them out or something, and be like, oh, harassment, and then
They
take all
don't
your
define it. That's
Yeah.
the thing. They don't define it. They don't tell you, hey,
Loki, you're right. They don't define it. They do it on that on purpose, brother. This is just like hate speech. They can't define it because then it limits them. They want it to be as broad and ambiguous as possible, which immediately negates its effectiveness because, well, it's whatever breakfast cereal hits you right in the morning if you're working at Square Enix. If this smells like earwax and you don't like that smell, well, you're screwed. So this is a big problem, and this comes down to free speech. And look, these companies aren't bound to do that, but it's going to make them more unpopular. Square Enix wasn't on the way up, kids. They're on the way down. I don't care if they're making great remakes of this, that, or the other thing. Could care absolutely less.
The Final Fantasy franchise is struggling. Like, I think we can be honest about that. I mean, you can look at 14 online. Player counts are significantly down since the that Dawnwalker release with the annoying
character.
the questionable character and the voice actress. And then I think, I know Nick loves the Rebirth and everything, but I still think the sales are down on that compared to some other more recent mainline Final Fantasy.
I'm gonna be curious to see what the PC sales do for Rebirth.
Well, they've already got a sale out of me, and I'm not gonna cancel it. I want it.
Yeah, because I'm getting the
they got
PC
my money,
version.
but
I'm getting the PC version too, and I've already platinumed the game on PS5, and I'm getting the PC version.
That's 3 times I bought this game. I bought the special edition, I bought the digital edition, and then I got the PC edition.
Yeah, I actually
bought
it
3 times. I've supported them.
I've bought it 4 times because my brother couldn't get his copy. His copy didn't show up in Alaska on release day. So I just paid for a digital copy for him so he could jump on and start playing it day one. So I've actually bought the game 4 times. And I'll probably stream the game on here because I love Rebirth. It was the game of the year for me. But it was not without its flaws and issues. It wasn't perfect by any means. We talked about this in the past. The one, sort of sweet baby insert.
The Chocobo girl.
The
Chocobo whisperer. She could whisper to Chocobos.
Yeah,
no formal training, no lessons. The best Chocobo rider in the world.
And, it was bad. Thank God it was held to a side quest. But
you had to do it to get to Cosmo Canyon.
Yeah, you had to do, but you didn't have to do anything else with it once you got there. But yeah, it was definitely cringe. But outside of that, the game was excellent. I loved the game, and I cannot wait for part 3. Like everybody here knows, Final Fantasy VII is one of, if not my number 1 top game of all time.
Okay, but more to John's point, Square Enix has been falling off. I mean, and that's why you're seeing more and more of these remakes and things like that. He's 100% right. The reason that these studios are doing that kind of thing is because what they're doing, as far as the gamers are concerned, is unpopular. Your sales fall off at a time when people need actual escapism. You aren't meeting the gamers' needs. There's zero reason. It's the same thing with film and television. Everything that we cover here, all of us humans that are on this screen right now, everything we cover is related to the satisfaction of the customer, the people that are committed to whatever these properties are. I don't think I'm saying anything like wrong. I mean, I think that's kind of what our job is, right? Is to call out the garbage.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably argue that for the I would position myself as like I try to champion what is for the common good.
Yeah,
and they had enough problems with remake to begin with because halfway through development they said show us the game, and they couldn't. Everything they had showed them in like clips was all bogus crap, and they had to completely ditch that team because they outsourced everything.
Yeah,
they had to ditch that team and start all over from scratch with what resources they had just to get the dang game to work. You've already had that many problems. You're adding in dumb shit after that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's like doubling down on stupid.
Yeah. You know, and that's the other problem. If you spend all the time and attention to develop your own game engine, and you've had such turnover in your company that you have to go back to a standardized one like Unreal 5 or something, you have problems. You have inherited or invested in problems.
Well, everybody's doing it.
Yeah,
I don't want Bungie, EA, everybody's done it.
Hey, because they've chased out the people that were the creatives that made these things originally in the first place. Look, the minute you see founders of a studio leave because they've been acquired by they've been acquired by somebody else, you might as well count that studio's dead meat.
Yeah. Blizzard, same thing happened with Blizzard.
It's almost like the people that work there are pretty important.
Well,
in the name of the company.
John, I'm going to be very interested in your coverage of GTA 6.
Oh yeah,
you know, because our coverage between Loki and I and the team over at that game place, it isn't going to be positive unless this game is fire. I'm already expecting massive story problems. You know, I'm expecting it to be I don't know do you think something different, Loki? I mean, last time we talked, we were terrified that what we'd been told multiple times now is actually part of a narrative that may exist at the end of the game. That's going to be. Go ahead.
What have you guys been told?
That the girl, the Bonnie, is not Bonnie. She used to be the Clyde. And someone was like, "Oh, but she has a baby," and I'm like, "That don't matter. She could have the baby when she was still." But that you don't find that out until the very end when you see a picture of them, and that picture is supposed to be both of them standing there on the block they grew up with, and they're both boys. And that was like the first picture they ever talked. Which
this is a credible source told you guys.
This is I've been hearing.
We've heard it. We've heard it from different places.
Yes.
Okay.
Completely different places. And this was something we talked about in private, that it was like, okay, we heard this from there, and it all matched up from two totally different sources.
Wow.
So
that's the case. The game is dead.
It's still a rumor, but
that's true. That game is dead.
And that's the problem. Is like that's what we're suffering with, and I'm not going to treat it as anything but a rumor, but they really will have screwed up the studio. Rockstar will look terrible if that happens.
Yeah.
Andy Pants Gaming has a really good video on the kind of state of Grand Theft Auto and Rockstar as it is right now. And he kind of talks about how they have been already like removing a lot of this stuff that is deemed offensive towards these people that are suffering from mental and spiritual illness, thinking that men can become women and women can become men, etc. Talks about how they've hired a bunch of like woke activists that now work in the company. We have the 10K form or whatever it is, where the Rockstar actually admits that if they get bad reviews, it could like significantly harm their company, especially when they seem to be putting all of their eggs in the GTA 6 basket. If you look at their financial statements, at least the last time I looked at Take-Two's financial statements, it looked really bad. I think it's Take-Two, right? They're the parent company of Rockstar, and they're operating on like massive losses like every single quarter. I mean, it's like insane what kind of losses that they are operating on. So they're expecting huge revenues from this game, and if that does not happen, I mean, they could go under. they could be the
not
next
just
Ubisoft,
initial,
right?
not just that initial, because we were thinking like 3 billion right off the bat wouldn't be that big of a
in the first year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after that, see what GTA 5 did was GTA 5 kept making money. Oogles and boogles and oogles
With the
of
online
money
version, yeah.
with the online. That's what it's got to do. It's got to make that kind of revenue. If it doesn't, that's going to completely throw them off of what they've been doing.
Yeah.
It's got to make that kind of money.
And how much money has Rocksteady been losing since the Justice League and the layoffs that they're going through? And
the initial write-off was $200 million, if I'm not mistaken, right,
Yeah.
John?
Yeah, that's what they said, $200 million. Then they announced that their multiversus game was like garbage too. Did not perform well. And then they said it was like the total write-offs like increased to 300 million, but they haven't really like said like if that was all multiversus, if it was that Hogwarts game that they released in the same time of that quarter, the Quidditch game that they released, which didn't look like it did that well. And then or it was more just from Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, because obviously they were still rolling stuff out. They were still spending money on that game. They finally are shutting it down here. I guess the servers are going off sometime soon. I don't have the date in front of me, so I know they announced the
Quidditch game should have had a better single player campaign. It's a 4-game campaign, and then they're like, "Oh, go play online."
The Quidditch was probably DLC for Hogwarts Legacy, and they tried to sell it as a standalone, and they probably would have made more money selling it as a DLC. So that's just absolutely awful business decision, in my opinion.
Well, what's the Quidditch thing that they did, Loki?
The Quidditch, that's what we were talking about. The Quidditch game.
Yeah. That is DLC. That never should have been a standalone. And they needed more DLC for Hogwarts Legacy. Even if it was paid, they needed more, because that's like the one thing that I just prints money.
I think it was DLC, and I think they tried to think that they could. I think they thought they could duplicate what they had with Hogwarts Legacy instead of having it as the DLC.
They had like an Xbox game, a GameCube, PS2 Quidditch game back in the day that had a whole season. You could play the whole season. You could play against different schools. You could play in the championships. You played for the cup, all that. They already had something. All they had to do was remaster, upgrade, and you've got all that there, and they just didn't want to do any of that. It was just like, here's 4 games, go play online.
Yeah, I actually understand why they would try to do it as a spinoff, because in theory, or it should be like a FIFA, or a Madden that you could do every single year, like you're kind of saying, Loki, right? And you could have like the campaign modes, you could have an online mode. That should be a big winner, because it is kind of like a new sports game or whatever. And clearly just didn't work out. I didn't play it. Did you play it? I don't know if it was.
It gets boring after like a couple of hours once you're through the campaign, and you're like, well, I don't really play.
Is it just single player? There's no multiplayer?
No, there's a multiplayer. There's a whole online multiplayer. You can level up your guys and get more stuff, and you barely get anything for going through the 4 games for the season. But just I just want to hop on and play the CPU in a round or something. There's nothing you could do, because it's already it's done. So you're just exhibition after exhibition, and you just get tired of it and bored. The only way you can really level up is playing multiplayer. That's it. So if you play with friends or play in a league or play whatever, yeah, sure, you're going to get a whole bunch of extra stuff. But then it becomes, I'm just working to unlock an outfit or a broom or a whatever, a customization. I'm not really working towards anything.
Are the games itself though, like interesting? Like when you're playing the game, like
not really.
No, okay.
It's Quidditch. It's. I mean, is it believable Quidditch? Yeah. The first time you go out there, they're like, "Hey, it's Hermione, and it's Harry Potter, and it's this person," and you're learning from the twins.
I guess it would be a little bit difficult to like make finding the snitch kind of fun when you're not on the broom chasing it, right? Or like how does it play? Do you control the entire team like you would in like
no, you control
kind of like Madden
person,
where you just control one person. Okay.
You control one person. You can switch. You can switch players to different jobs and all that, but that's it. There's no like, okay, I'm gonna call a play. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna do a flying B and do this. No, there's none of that.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. It should be more like Madden or even like FIFA or something like that, right? Where you change players, and then maybe like there's something that like helps like your what's the seeker, I guess, that find the snitch, because like that's the character that you don't control, and then whatever you do, like maybe there's like boosts or bonuses or something that you can do during the game to like increase the chance of your seeker finding the snitch over your opponent or something like that. But sounds like it should be much more like Madden than what it is. So
yeah.
Maybe they'll learn. Maybe they'll figure it out.
I don't expect much. I mean, there was limited gameplay in the game itself, Hogwarts Legacy, but regardless, I felt like, and we talked about being a little bit excited about that at the beginning, if I remember correctly, Loki, in a video we did on that gameplay. But we're being disappointed more often than not. So when I bring up, that it's possible we're going to get wrecked by Rockstar with GTA 6, I believe so. I mean, we're already losing a couple of other studios. I mean, I set this year's studio loss at 13. Well, we're already well on the way. So, I mean, we got these studios are shutting down left and right, and Rocksteady's going to be
January.
Yeah, Rocksteady's going to be gone by the end of February. They're closing, and if rumors are to be true, and again, I think.
Oh, you think Rocksteady's going to get shut down
eventually? Yeah.
I thought the last I heard was that they were going to have like they were going to go back to single player and try and do another Batman game or something like that.
Good luck.
No, they're going to give them that chance.
No, well, let me tell you, if they make it to that stage, and because again, you are correct, that's one of the things that have been stated. They're trying to unkill Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw that. Yeah, the whole clone. I was so stupid.
I'm like, no.
I mean,
really Batman.
It's dumb, but at the same time, if it was Star Wars, like I would be totally like, yes, you need to do this, Disney, please.
Yeah.
No, this is how you do it. Like it's
Arkham Asylum.
It was all a dream. It was all a dream.
Yeah.
No. He walks up. He walks up and he knocks on. And the police answer the door. He's like, "Hi, I'm Batman. Let me in. Can I talk to Commissioner Gordon? It's Batman." And they're like, "But you died." "No, it wasn't me. See my name tag? It says I am Batman. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Batman." And suddenly he's okay. It was a clone. He didn't die. He just decided to stay home and knit while the world was coming to an end.
Of course,
Batman decided to stay home and knit.
Yeah. He had to recharge his fairy dust powder, because now he's super sparkly Batman.
Yeah. Real quick, guys. Big shout out to Staccato DDS. Hail, good sir. Gifted 10 Echo Base Network memberships. Staccato DDS is the man. He is such a huge supporter of so many of our channels. And brother, we couldn't thank you enough. Welcome to all the new EBN members that got memberships. Welcome. We're going to be hitting John's topic next. But before that, this member video is for you guys.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Turn up the heat and it's getting ready to pop.
All right, guys. Let's see what John has for us here.
Have you covered this already? I don't know if you have.
I have not. We haven't done a video since December. We haven't done a video in like a month because there's been all kinds of craziness going on. Let's see here. All right, what do you got here?
So we got some Star Wars news here, or at least a Star Wars rumor for Favreau's movie here. And this is coming from Christian Harloff, but he's working with Jeff Snyder and John Roca. So
Roca, God, he's the worst. I saw one of his Twitter posts today that I just face palmed.
They do get scoops though, like as much as they're kind of.
I know they're connected. Yeah, they're connected. So what are they talking about here? What is the
Yeah, so first off, they have this scoop that this guy here, who I guess is in some TV show called The Bear, which I've never even heard of. I guess I did hear of it when they announced it on like some Disney stream or something like that. I was like, The Bear, what is that? There were like 4 seasons. I was like, what? But this guy, he's going to be a voice actor for Rhoda the Hutt, and Rhoda I think that was the character from the very first like movie that Lucas made with the Clone Wars, right? That was the whole plot. Like they got to go save this nephew of Jabba or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I guess now, so we got some details about what his role is and what the story is going to be and who the main kind of antagonist is. And Harloff said this: I think it's pretty significant as far as being part of the plot, from what I understand. There was a storyline in the Clone Wars when he was a baby that he was kidnapped and had to be rescued. And I think what they're doing it now as him as an adult. What it looks like Mando and Grogu are hired to rescue him. He's held hostage, and they're kind of like the good guys. And the bad guy is someone, I even see people kind of guessing it in the comments below. I think he put it in the headline of his video. So, but anyways, he says that Embo is coming back. He was voiced by Dave Filoni. He'll be voiced by Dave Filoni again. He is basically the big bad in the story from what I'm hearing. It looks like Embo is the big bad, and him and Mando both going after Rada. Mando is trying to rescue him. Embo is trying to kill him. So that is like the latest on this Mandalorian.
So it's basically a retelling of a story that they've already told, but at a different time.
We were just talking about that with comic books. Why would they do that? This isn't comic books. It's Star Wars. They're not even owned by the same people. Oh my God.
Good Lord. So this is Embo. I vaguely remember this. I only saw this once.
In
I saw it in theaters. I thought it was going to be good. It was. No. I was sad that I dragged my dad to see it.
In modern Star Wars, this would be Himbo.
Yeah.
No. Tranbo.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Oh, yeah. That would be it.
The 4th of Freedom. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So this guy, he's gonna be doing the voice acting for Rada the Hutt. Is it like a grown up adult now? I guess
that's what he's kind of saying. He thinks that he's gonna be an adult. It sounds like, I don't know. I think you probably watched this. Do you remember the Zero the Hutt storyline? It kind of sounds like that from the actual Clone Wars show.
Vaguely.
With Cad Bane and stuff like that. Cad Bane like breaks him out of prison, and then there's kind of like a chase and everything. So it sounds like they are kind of maybe combining the Cad Bane Zero the Hutt story with the Lucas story with the Clone Wars movie, the animated movie.
Can I just ask, what happened to Mandalorian, like Jon Favreau Mandalorian, and when did it become Dave Filoni's like afterbirth of the Clone Wars?
Yeah. I'm guessing after season 2, when fans were kind of jumping back on board and people were kind of getting excited again, Disney was like, whoa, we can't have this.
Come on, you got those rose-colored glasses on. That season finale in season 2 literally has all of the male heroes getting emasculated. Boba Fett gets kneed in the groin, gets upshowed by the female Mando, and then
you're not wrong. But the thing is, the Luke return kind of made you forget about all that because that was awesome.
I understand that, but
at the time.
I would say season 1, episode 1, the fact that he's so stupid that he doesn't get on his ship and travel the planet. He rides that whatever that thing was that he had to like train and all that stuff so they could have that little Western vibe. So he could like go across the planet. And it's like, what? No, just fly over there and then sneak in and start shooting people. Like, but they had to force in that like whole like training montage thing. And I understand that, but like, you make it explain why that you can have something like that instead of
there's got to be a better reason than that.
I've always been a critic of the Mando show. I always thought it could have been better. I think if you go back and watch the old Bounty and Comics YouTube channels where we did live streams. I think I gave the first episode a 5 or something like that. So
yeah, I had issues with seasons 1 and 2 as well. I thought that the first 2 seasons were, for the most part, fairly well done.
They weren't as in your face.
But yeah, you know, at this point
I know we
in time,
disagree too. You
Yeah.
thought that in this third season, I actually thought the train episode was like the best one, and you thought
I hated
you thought
it.
that was the worst one.
Oh god, yeah, I hated that. I hated pretty much all season 3.
It was pretty bad. It was pretty
and-
bad. And when I say like I thought that was the best one, it's like the best one. It's like the best. It's like the best tasting like turd, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Still a turd.
And that's the thing with Disney Star Wars, and I'm so burnt out on it. I'm just I don't even like hardly talking about Disney Star Wars anymore. I'm just like, I'm so over it at this point. It's dead. It is so dead. It's not even a shell of its former self.
Yeah, you can't
it's
even
less than a shell.
You can't even like what does Tolkien say? He says you can't even suspend your disbelief enough to kind of like what is he? There's like a word that he uses where you can't even suspend your disbelief enough to like kind of create a fake mirage. You can't even put the rose colored glasses on just a little bit to try and make it seem like it's palatable. It's so insufferable at that point. You can't even stand it. So
yeah, and Skeleton Crew just
many such cases.
And nobody is watching that show. You know,
well, have you seen the gaslighting on that? All of the like discussing film, culture crave, Screen Rant, they're saying that it got 389 or whatever it is million minutes viewed, and it's like, no, it didn't. That's the number that the Great British Baking Show got, and Skeleton Crew is not even on that chart. So they're gaslighting people on how much what the viewership was. It's lower than that, and we don't even know how low because Nielsen didn't share that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing about our whole channel is, you know, now that that's over, it's like, you know, we got to start moving in a different direction because, you know, Star Wars is a dead IP at this point.
You're just black-pilled, Nick. You're just black-pilled.
I've been this way for quite some time. I've kind of been over the whole Disney Star Wars thing. You know, there's a lot of
tell. I mean, you were like, I remember even like when you were kind of forcing yourself to watch The Acolyte, you didn't want to watch that. Like,
no,
I didn't want to watch that.
No.
Oh,
yeah,
you watched The Acolyte?
Yeah, if it wasn't for this channel, I never would even watch that show. But I had fun roasting it. I had fun hanging out with everybody on the panels and in the chat, and I had fun discussing it. Watching it, no, it was such a waste of time. But it was a fun roast. Skeleton Crew, it wasn't even a fun roast, and you know, and then you have there's a lot of channels that are anti-Disney Star Wars that have kind of been, you know, claiming us to be fence riders and that sort of thing, and there's a lot of dumb back and forth stuff with all that, and it's like I don't even honestly care about any of this stuff. Disney Star Wars sucks. Disney sucks. And if you want to hate everything. I don't care. If you want to love all Disney Star Wars, I don't care either about that. It's like I got other things to do in life than to sit here and go back and forth with people on Disney Star Wars. So yeah, I've kind of been over it for a while. I want to talk about other stuff. Now, if we get like, you know, rumor stuff or there's some breaking news or something like that, yeah, we'll hit that. We'll cover it. We'll talk about it. But you know, trying to find Star Wars stuff to talk about all the time, I'm over it. I'm done.
Do you remember when you could sit there and talk to a buddy about like, oh, did you get the plans to T-38, man? And you're like going over the schematics. It goes this fast and it does. And all that used to be just like, you'd have all that. You had schematics. I've got all kinds of stuff, blueprints.
Yeah.
And
I still have that stuff.
that
I still
you'd
have
catch at like the dollar store, or like at the used bookstore, or wherever. You'd be like, they got a whole set of Star Wars stuff over here, and you just get it. Why? Because it was Star Wars. Now
Yeah.
you're like, I don't care. You can have a whole wall of Star Wars shit.
Yep.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I actually at one point I had a bunch of Star Wars stuff on my desk right here. Like I had a Lego B-wing or a Lego TIE bomber, like an Imperial shuttle over here. Like I took all of it off my desk and went and put it in my spare room, on shelves and stuff in there because I just didn't even want to look at it. Now when my nieces and nephews were here, I did get them on the original trilogy, and they did get some lightsabers. But nothing on Disney Star Wars stuff. I'll always love the original trilogy, you know, and I'll always watch those movies. Those will never.
I plan to introduce my kids to the original trilogy.
Yeah,
but nothing after that. I won't probably won't even show them the prequels.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just that's the state that Disney Star Wars has put me in. Quick thoughts before we wrap up. Culture, Disney Star Wars, this rumor, Mando Grogu.
Okay.
Yeah, Star Wars is dead.
What, you don't want to see like the cool kind of like samurai looking bounty hunter and get those member berries from the Clone Wars?
No, because Nick doesn't even invite me over on Echo Base now because he knows I'm going to be like, I don't care for the entire show.
Yeah. It's like Tom from Midnight's Edge. You know, the only time I'll invite him is on like this show because you know our Thursday night show is and Loki too. So yeah,
you know, unless what's his name's on? Because I love to torture him.
Risman or
Risman, yeah, Risman.
Yeah, Risman. Yeah,
I love terrorizing Risman. I love the guy. I love the guy to pieces, but I love to terrorize him.
Yeah, I think he'll be in Orlando too.
Oh, cool! I can terrorize him in person.
Yeah, I think he'll be there. I'm not 100% sure,
lightsaber.
Yeah. So that's gonna wrap it up, guys. But yeah, real quick, Orlando. Let me just confirm the date. MegaCon Orlando. The 6th through the 8th. Where's this being at? The Universal Orlando Resort.
In that area, yeah.
Yeah. So here is, and they got a ton of people that are going to be at this thing. Mel Gibson's going to be there. Matt Smith, Ron Howard.
I don't care about those people.
I'll
be there. I'll be there. Bryce, did Bryce did Bryce actually confirm?
I'm guessing so. If they got her on here,
all right.
I wouldn't think that they would put her on here, but yeah, Universal Orlando Resort. I'll talk to you after this show, Culture. But we will be there. So if you guys are going to be in the Orlando area, you know, come hang out. I know G&G crew are having a meetup that we'll all be at. So yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend. I'm already got my days off of work for that time. And it's gonna be a fun weekend. I'm actually going to if I try to meet any celebrities, I think it's gonna be Mel Gibson at all the ones that are gonna be there.
Mel Gibson's gonna be there?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Mel Gibson, that would be the one guy. If I could only meet one person there, I don't know.
Everyone's talking about him and his Resurrection of the Christ movie, which I love. Right, like I'm excited for that. But I also want to know he did a scouting trip out to Malta last year, and he revealed that he's actually doing a mini series out there on the Knights of Malta, or I guess it's the Knights Hospitalier. And their battle at Malta, where they defended the island from the I think it's the Ottoman Empire at the time. So
Mhm.
I actually am like really interested in hearing more about that. No one's been asking him about that, which I'm a little sad. So maybe if you get the chance, ask him about
Yeah,
it.
if I get the chance, I'll ask him about it and I'll tell you what he says.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be a great weekend. I'm looking forward to it. I definitely need some time out of town and just have fun again. I've had so much crazy crap going on, personal life stuff and work and all that sort of stuff. This trip, and I've never been to Orlando before. Never.
What?
Nope, never. This will be my first time to be in Orlando ever in my life.
Crazy.
Surprising.
So yeah, it's only an 8-hour drive for me too. So I'm gonna
That's
drive.
shorter than me.
Yeah,
I just did that trip. I think it took me like 12 hours, 10, 12 hours.
yeah. I looked it up. It's take me 8 hours to get there. So
I make lots of stops because I got the kids and stuff though. So.
oh yeah, I try to just drive straight
Yeah.
through and get there and yeah, I don't know. I could split it up between 2 days, but nah, I won't.
8-hour trip, you do that straight through. I mean,
Yeah. Definitely. But guys, that is going to do it for us. Thanks for being here. Thank you for all your continued support. We will be back next Friday for another episode, EBN Cast, and then also next Thursday night you can catch me and Coach. We're going to try to get some content put out this weekend and scheduled, and me and Coach might do a chill stream at some point in time this weekend as well. So stay tuned for that. Guys, you want to go around, tell everybody what you got going on coming up? Also, links to everybody's stuff is in the description below. Culture?
Yeah, actually, coming up here in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'm dropping a video about CNN getting their clock cleaned.
Oh, man. Yeah,
they just got nailed for millions of dollars with millions more on the way because of defamation. That's right. You're going to see the fake news media turn tail and run because you can't say nasty things about people at all when they're not accurate. You got to be accurate. And they were not.
Yeah, they are a failing news agency, just like they're probably in worse shape than Star Wars, maybe even CNN. Yeah, they're pretty bad off.
I think that's accurate.
Yeah. John, what do you got going on?
Yeah, so obviously tonight is the first night of the Luke Soil Late Model Dirt Series, so I'll be watching that and probably having some coverage on that. It's also the 5th night of the Chili Bowl, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to watch both. So we'll see. I think Kyle Busch is racing tonight, so I might try to cover both of those. We'll see. Obviously, my preference is the late models because that's what I like. And then just kind of covering a lot of the Kingdom Come Deliverance stuff that's been happening. There's
they just like screw that up badly, changes in the rules and all kinds of woke garbage.
It's disastrous. It's corporate statements, corporate PR statements, code of conduct, woke, like protecting woke stuff. Like it looks all
I thought
really,
they just
really
came
bad.
out and said, "Oh no, don't don't judge them yet. There's hope." I thought there was supposed to be hope, and this was a guy that battled for, into all this. And really, Deliverance Kingdom Come 2 is going to be like
they got purchased in 2019 by Embracer Group, and we know what the Saber Interactive guy said about all the pitches he heard at Embracer. So,
oh no,
we know they have a DEI agenda over there at Embracer. It's all on their website. So, I've been covering a lot of that. Obviously, there's the Dragon Age, BioWare stuff. So you can find all of that over on fandompulse.com, or I covered some of that on the Trent Report here on YouTube. So that's kind of what I've got going on.
All right, Loki.
Crazy.
We got the late show tonight, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Come by, hang out. It's kind of like Cheers, where everybody knows your name. We just kind of hang out and let loose for the last 2 hours of the night, and then everything comes crashing down at midnight. So. Yeah.
Always.
Loki's Mornings of Mischief.
Yep. Every day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Central Time. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it. Thanks again for all your support, and we will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.